Welcome to the 8th edition of World Intellectual Property Forum.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Guys, my name is Amit Kaushal. I'm a founding partner of Photon Legal. And I'm also accompanied with my partner, Priyank Khandelwal, founding partner of Photon Legal. The topic for today is a very important topic for all of us. 101 and Section 3K. 35 USC 101, how do you overcome this rejection? And how do you overcome Section 3K in India? I will let Priyank introduce himself first, and then I'll introduce myself, and then we'll quickly jump on this topic and we'll give you some tips and techniques how to overcome these issues. Over to you, Priyank.
Thank you so much, Amit, for this opportunity. Hi, guys. I'm Priyank. I'm a software engineer. I did my graduation from College of Engineering, Pune in computer science, and then I became a patent agent pursuing law at the moment. And as Amit mentioned, that the topic for today is 101, how do you overcome it? This is my personal favorite because I come from a computer background and a lot of software inventions are getting 101 rejections left, right, and center. At Photon Legal, we aim to help people to solve all of these rejections by getting them a wonderful grant for their hard-worked inventions. Talking about myself more, I'm a techie. I've also been to Israel, learned cybersecurity from Israel, and then got a taste of how the high-tech world works, why inventions are so crucial for any business, be it a small startup or a large corporation. A granted patent always delights the management. So with that thought, I came back to India, started working in a law firm, and then around 18 months back, along with Amit, I started Photon Legal, where both of us are partner. Thank you so much, Amit. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Priyank. Thank you very much. So guys, my name is Amit Kaushal. I'm an engineer and a lawyer. I'm also a patent agent, practicing IP for last 14 years. After my engineering, I went to the US, worked with Motorola as in-house patent counsel for there in Chicago. That's where I learned about patent drafting, patent prosecution, patent searching, and everything about patents. Came back to India, pursued my law from Delhi University, Faculty of Law, and worked in a couple of law firms in Delhi and Pune. Now I live in Pune, and we run a law firm called Photon Legal. Photon Legal has been helping a lot of clients across the globe in IP, primarily IP. That's what we do. Let me now jump to a topic, 101, Section 3K. Guys, there are two kinds of softwares, okay? One is patentable, one is not. Now, the one which is not is called computer program per se. The one which is patentable is called computer program. Now, what is the difference between computer program per se and computer program? Before I come to that, let me come to the problems that a software solves. A software can solve two problems: an admin problem, an administrative problem, or a technical problem. If your software is solving an administrative problem, your software is not patentable. I repeat, if your software is solving an administrative problem, your software is not patentable, and that's what is computer program per se. However, if your software is solving a technical problem, your software is patentable, and that's what computer program is. So now let me just give you an example of what is admin problem, what is technical problem. Suppose there is software which can be used to, let's say, guess or calculate, a software to calculate the savings which one person has to make if he wants to get retired at the age of 60. Suppose, let's say I put some data in the software, I want to get retired at 60 years of age, and this is my income, this is my expenses and all of that. And the software is going to tell me how much do I have to save every month so that I can retire, I can retire at 60 of age. That software is solving an administrative problem. It is not solving a technical problem. So hence, a software for calculating your installments or savings every month will not be patentable. However, a software which is, let's say, solving a technical problem. Now, examples of technical problems are, suppose a software is able to improve the efficiency of a machine. A software is able to improve, let's say, conserve some space in a memory. A software is able to, suppose a software in a mouse, a software in a washing machine, a software which makes a washing machine run. But the washing machine, let's say, running in a clockwise direction, the software changes the direction to a clockwise direction and to an anti-clockwise direction, therefore making the washing machine more efficient. Such softwares are patentable, and such softwares are also come under section. And the such softwares are called technical softwares, or they will be computer program softwares, and are acceptable in India, US, and Europe. So now perhaps you understand the difference between what softwares can do. Admin softwares are not patentable. Non-admin technical softwares are patentable. Over to you, Priyank, to give us some insight about how did you overcome a 101 rejection for one of our clients in the US?
Oh, yes, yes. That's an interesting case, Amit. So guys, we are working with a data science company based out of US. These guys have done very fantastic work, and they are able to tell you in real time, okay, what is a business opportunity for a particular business. Now we filed a bunch of software patent applications in US for this particular invention. And as everybody would expect, because it is giving you a business opportunity, we got a straightforward 101 rejection. Now, because we know that it is not just a mere administrative problem or just a business problem which the software is trying to solve, we did this. First, we had an examiner interview. Guys, this is very important that we talk to the examiner right in the beginning, because he needs to understand what we are trying to patent. Whatever is written in the claim needs to be conveyed very clearly to the examiner as well. So we get on a call with the examiner, explain him the technical features of the invention, how machine learning, how data science, and how AI ML is actually helping the invention do something more. When I say do something more, it is solving the very basic thing, which is solving memory, solving, saving time, and also giving you predictions in real time for any particular goddamn business based upon the data. Now, once we do that examiner call and we are able to convince the examiner why the invention is filed and why the claims are written in a manner to highlight the technical features, we submit a response in line with the examiner's thoughts and understanding, and we get a grant. On an average, for this client and for other software companies as well, we get 2 office action. That's again maximum, and majority of the cases goes through just after the NFOA in US. The reason is simple: the strategy. You have to have a right strategy when you are targeting 101 rejections. That's what we did for this particular data science company, which are doing really well because of around 9 to 10 patent applications we filed for them, and most of them are also granted in US. Amit, do you like to touch about 3K rejections in India?
Sure. Thank you so much, Priyank, for giving the perspective of the US. So in the US, to summarize, get into the examiner call as soon as possible, understand his philosophy, and solve the 101 issue. In India, examiners behave differently in different patent offices. Sometimes it behaves differently in the same patent office as well. So we have our patent application in India was Mumbai patent office, and we had a software on a bot, on a chat bot. Software application, the patent application was on a chat bot. Clearly, the examiner is going to give you a section 3K rejection. Now, in India, 3K, I would say Indian examiners are more difficult to convince when it comes to section 3K. And I think US folks are much easier to convince. This examiner in India, we were able to convince him that what differently what different we were doing, how we were using emotions and other parameters in the chatbot, which cannot be done by a human being, and what technical problem this chatbot is solving. We are focusing and hammering ourselves, hammering the examiner on this point. The technical problems being solved by the chatbot while this chatbot is implemented. Based upon that focus, we were able to get an allowance for our client, and the allowance we got the allowance in about like 10 months, one of the fastest for us and in India. So that's how we obviated. So focus on technical problem, focus on how you're going to solve the technical problem, and how is your claim solving the problem in a technical way, and hence you will be able to convince the examiner to give you a grant. So this is how you can possibly obviate, whether it's US or India or Europe. Focus on the problem you are solving. The problem must be a technical problem. The solution must be a technical solution, and you have to convince the examiner how the technical problem is being solved by a technical solution, thereby obviating 101 or Section 3K or the likewise in the US or in Europe.
Correct. In fact, while you are convincing the examiner on the technical problem and the solution, you must also consider the fact that how this technical problem is being solved in real life. If you can give a real life example, that will put a lot of clarity to the examiner's thought, saying that, okay, if you implement this in this manner, this is how the results are going to be. So it's very important to bring out the results as well. And if you are able to put this story in front of the examiner, we are sure that they will consider your point, and they would also be in the shoes of the inventor and realize how critical it is for a particular software to get a grant for a particular business as well. So yes, identify a technical problem, identify technical features which from the spec which can help you to get a grant, and put that into the claim, and then convince the examiner. It's all about convincing the examiner for allowing your case.
Yes, absolutely. Priyank, are we good on time? Do we have more time, or do we wrap up?
Looks like we do have 2-3 minutes, Amit.
Okay, wonderful. I think let's use the 2-3 minutes to convey to our audiences what we are, what we do. So Photon Legal was established approximately 18 months back. Fortunately, in about 18 months, we have added over 100 plus clients, including Tatas and Bisleris and Mazda Docs and a lot of other clients in the US and in India. We want to thank Naveen and Jeet for giving us this platform. You guys are doing fabulous due to what is happening right now in the world. We guys could not do a face-to-face conference, but yes, this is superb, guys, and thank you so much for giving us this opportunity. Look forward to seeing you virtually in December when this is live.
Absolutely, yes. Thank you so much, Naveen and Jeet. It's a pleasure to be part of the virtual conference, first of its own nature. And yes, for all the participants and the folks who are listening to us, if you have any questions or any doubts with regards to 101 or any other IP matter, you can reach out to us at www.photonlegal.com. You can put a question there, and we will get back to you within a very short time. We are also the fastest firm of the world. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you very much, guys. Take care of yourself. God bless.
Bye-bye.